Happy Wednesday, Nile. How are you doing?
Happy Wednesday, Sam. I'm doing great. How are you doing, friend?
I'm doing well. It's great to see you. I'm so glad we get to do a little mini bonus class. For folks that
I
don't know, I'm
do.
Sam's Bead Shop, and this is Nile Patel of SilverSilk and more. Truly, there is so much more to be had at SilverSilk. Why
There
am I?
is. The
Hold on,
fun
I'm
just
wearing
never
this.
really stops. And I love our monthly-ish collaborations. Whenever we can get together, it's always a party, right?
I think it's a great time. So I'm glad we get at least it gets us at least to how you need things on the calendar just to see each other. So I'm glad this gets us chatting at least once a month,
It's so
guaranteed.
true. I
Baseline.
feel like time passes by so quickly, and if it's not on the calendar, it just kind of is dismissed, right? And I live by my calendar these days. So when we talk ahead of time and then we kind of plot out our dates, it's just nice to kind of revisit those. And then we actually get to chat in person. So,
This is true. I want to show you. This necklace has a certain pendant on it.
oh, I've been drooling over that stone, friend.
I know this Kumbaba Jasper is. I'm loving. So I had to wear that today. I was like, oh, this is perfect. And with the Nile, I got to wear my green Kumbaba Jasper pendant.
We do kind of match, like in a color scheme sort of way, the tan and the green. Like if we just, put it side by side.
wait. Go over a little bit.
Oh wait, yeah. Are we doing the half face thing?
Wait, mine keeps chasing.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we waste time.
So we are here to be today, not just laugh hysterically. That I'm going to do that on more streams. That was fun. So Neela came up with such a gorgeous necklace using the May Sam's Bead box. I thought you showed off the box so perfectly, so I'm so glad we get a little mini demo before you go on vacay. And will you tell us a little bit about creating the design? Because I know you had some ideas and like tips for general jewelry making today as well.
Yeah, I was really inspired by the May box. It was probably one of the more trickier colors because I'm not used to working with a lot of rich, bright tones. But that's sort of a fun challenge, right? Exactly. Like it just gets my juices going for my creativity, and so between the box and the beads themselves, and then also us doing our SilverSilk collaborations. You and I are strategically, and Rachel and everyone else behind the scenes in Sam's Beadbox world, we're strategically picking out colors and textures that sort of align with the theme of the box. And so that sort of makes it easier to design with. I think, and I guess I'm just biased because I have SilverSilk and more. But I think it just really elevates the creativity, and it makes it also a little easier to pair a lot of stuff together that I wouldn't have ever thought of to put together in the first place. But here it is in the box and the colors match. But how do I get those textures and those different components and things start to harmonize it into a design? That's really the tricky part and the challenge. So I came up with a design that is very easy to put together in retrospect.
Quite stunning. Have you guys seen this? It's kind of amazing. It's very amazing.
I
love it.
I am glad you enjoy it, and I hope that it'll inspire folks out there to kind of try their version of it. But we're focusing the elements very strategically on the focal area, and just using the SilverSilk as the necklace rope, and letting that kind of complete the picture for the design. And we're using colored SilverSilk too. The wire, that we picked out, I think we did 3 different flat mesh chains, which all coordinate with the box.
Let me show folks really quick what we got for this month before we jump into the design. So we have, the page, if you're curious where I'm referencing here, this is the page you can access on our homepage right now. So if you this is the homepage. If you go click this button, or just go to Monthly Beadbox, go to Waltz of the Flowers, this is the theme that we were working with for May. It's all about dancing florals, brights, Great challenge for Nile, perfect for springtime right now. And then I got Nile's necklace right in center. So that's the demo you're watching right now that we're going to be putting
Oh my
together.
gosh, I love this so hard.
I do too.
This page is awesome.
And so this is also a page where you can grab an entire box. You can grab extras individually from the box. You can also find our beadbox add-ons. So we have 3 for this month. So we have a beautiful classic gold SilverSilk Flat Mesh. Nile will tell you about Flat Mesh once we start designing with it, as well as a custom pack that has a beautiful blue and purple. You get a length of each, which is a little bonus offering we get for the shop that you can't typically get from Nile directly. And then we like to keep things extra spicy. So take a look at this baby blue on gold. I love how this came out. We don't have it. We can't show you on camera today, so we want to show you the photo of just how beautiful this one came out. And I just love how it goes with so many of the tones of the box, both on the, and I think it matches like every aspect of the box really nicely because the gold and blue in it. So definitely check out those, as well as our friends at Softflex make a trio with us, and Rachel makes seed beads to go with the box. So lots of fun to be had, especially if you're a delicate.
Like an entire playground with all of the different obstacle courses that you can possibly put in a playground.
And I'm also starting to load in designs from you all. So if you upload a design, it gets considered to get featured. So here are some of my favorites that have been sent in so far. And if you want to submit, you can just go here and click on the submission form. We'd love to feature your designs.
Beautiful. I love that. I love that so much.
I love how the page came out too. But it's time to design.
One thing I wanted to note with the SilverSilk too is that it's beyond just a matching of colors. It's truly, my hands are really on it, and my eye is so critical for detail. So there is a very thorough process to calibrate how the knit texture is going to work on the pipe chain. And sometimes it works great, and sometimes my machine is just a curse word that I shouldn't say. But it has its good days and its bad days, like we all do. And I have to kind of just love it and treat it like a person, right? But there is a very hands-on process, and there is a very thorough inspection for the quality of the product, making sure that everything is looking the way it should before it even gets packaged and into Sam's hands for redistribution. So just considering that this is like a very artisanal product.
No, it's a really a specialty product. That's why we have for the shop. We intentionally try to bring in things that you don't typically find at any odd shop. We want to find things that like really excite, really unique designs. So I love that we get to blend the high quality gemstones, check glass, and SilverSilk together each month is like my favorite thing.
It's a good blend. So, well, why don't we get down to the bead board? I'm sure folks.
Let's get down to beadsness.
The bead. Oh, I like.
I didn't come up with that. I can't take credit. I cannot. My friend came up with that years ago, and I love it. He said, "How's the beadsness going?"
Well, that's okay. Someone's got to start coining it. Okay, so let me make a couple adjustments here, and let's talk about some tools that we're going to work with today. So to make that 3-strand necklace, let's just say, we're going to need a few simple tools that's probably already in your inventory. Sam, I believe we've talked about the Zeron crimpers that you might be carrying.
We carry them now. I don't know if they've been very popular. I can't tell if they're in stock at this moment, but you can definitely join the waitlist. If not, those are my new favorite crimper. I finally listened to Nile after like 2 years, and I bought them, and I also use them as my flat nose as well. I love them.
Oh, good. Yeah, they're super versatile. I'm glad to know that you carry them because I don't. And so if you have a wait list, that means you do carry them, which is great. Yeah, they're just so handy. They're so tapered at the tip here. They really get into any crevice that you want, and it can crimp 3 different size crimps, which is wonderful. And so I love them just beyond the standard crimpers. These things are so awesome. So you'll need those.
Agreed.
I've got a pair of standard chain nose pliers. I don't know if I'll actually be using these. I just have them on hand just in case. I've got my cutters, which I use for stringing and for craft wire. And I think that's, oh, well, I actually do have it's either this pair or let me get my other bigger pair. Because I'm a snob when it comes to tools matching, which I can forgive the Zuron pliers, but I must have my round nose pliers match. So you'll need a pair of round nose pliers for the pendant drop that we'll work on. As for materials, and I get this is Sam, where you're gonna help a lot with the gemstone reads. I can't remember offhand, but I can definitely talk through them. So let me go through the top here. I've got a pair. I've got a clasp on hand. This is just a toggle clasp. I've got 2 Tierra cast cord crimps. This is the hammer.
I'm so glad. Those are the ones. Those are awesome. Those are the ones we have in the shop for the flat mesh itself.
Yep. So you'll need that today. I actually used it for pipe chain too, believe it or not, and it worked out great.
No way.
Yeah. I just posted a video over on my YouTube channel, and there I demonstrate how to use it with pipe chain. It was just literally the very last video that I did before this one.
Wow. Oh, I'm gonna have to check that out. That's awesome.
Okay.
You got the sparkly tier cast crystal.
Yeah. And then let's show that off first, because of course, I mean, hello. This is the 12 millimeter Rivoli crystal frame, I guess, bezel. I don't know what we're calling it. And
yeah, that's the Rivoli from Tiercast that we put in the box. You can get that in multiple finishes in the shop as well if you're catching this replay later and curious.
This works for just about everything too. Like imagine it on a bracelet. They come up with some really great components, and so that was exciting for me to use. I've got some crimp beads. You'll need approximately 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these. And that, as well as the wire that I'm using, the beading wire, came from Softflex Company, and you'll need approximately probably 3 feet of beading wire in medium. And then I've got 4 jump rings. This is the 5 millimeter standard jump rings that I have in my store. But jump rings you can kind of get anywhere. And I've got your drop gemstone. You'll have to talk about this one, Sam.
Yeah, this is a candy jade with the ginkgo leaf on the pendant.
That I put there actually. So I was gonna.
I see that one.
What to do?
That one looks like you're already on it with the gluing there.
I'm saying, to me, that's like the easiest win. And especially because I'm wire wrapping it at the top. And so I don't want my charm to move all over the place. So I decided just to nail that little sucker down with some Loctite.
That's so mixed media of you. I love it.
Yeah. Just adds another element to my stone. Okay, now these, I just want to like, I want to be the dragon that sits on this all the time. Like, I have no other way to explain this.
Aren't they amazing? Those are more candy jades because we really wanted those bright tones. So we custom designed this strand with 3 gorgeous colors of the candy jade. And I just love how they came out together. And then we intentionally then got the pendants to match the 2 of the tones of that strand.
Oh, that's clever. Yeah, what's funny is like whenever I opened up the box, my eye immediately went to the stones first, and then I was just like, these aren't colors that I typically use. So it'll be interesting to come up with something for this. But I love those. They're so delicious. Like candy. And I've
I
got
love that
these.
you're featuring your whole strand there. It's great.
Yeah. I just, I couldn't break them up because I like the matte finish. I like the matte finish against the polished stone in contrast. And so
Yeah,
whenever you're
that's a nice
thinking
combo.
about pairing stuff with gemstones, think about how you can add some visual interest. You've got these really beautiful faceted polished stones, so it's got a very glassy texture. I wanted to specifically draw the eye down to this area, and I'm going to do it through using texture. So I've got this really bumpy, rope essentially, but it's matte gold, and it just plays really well against the glassy texture of the gemstones themselves.
I love that you're making a rope out of beads. You're already making a rope out of wire and tubing, and now you're making ropes out of beads too.
Yep. Yeah, just this is probably where the simplicity of this all comes in, because I came up, you pack so many great materials into the box itself, it's hard to really kind of figure out what they want to become. So instead of fighting against what it is, it could be as simple as just keeping it strung on.
That's
Just
the whole
restringing it.
strand. I love that.
Mhm.
Don't overcomplicate it.
I didn't want to overcomplicate the design. I just wanted to keep it true to its color palette and focus on the elements at whole here. So I've got these check glass beads, and I've got a series of drops here at the bottom. And
Beautiful.
I made sure that it's staggered though whenever I strung all this together. So I dropped this whole thing down by a couple inches, maybe 2.5 at most. And then I followed up with adding this little extra collar with the drops. And I've got a space, as you can see in the middle, where my pendant's going to go.
Oh, cool.
And the idea here is to use my given elements to the most of what I can make it, at least for this design. So I've got a little bit of glossy texture with the gemstones. I've got the matte finish with the spacers. I've got another color that's kind of coming down and hitting the yellow, which plays off the gold really well here at the bottom. And then I'm going to complete the look with adding something that's bright and sparkly here at the bottom. I know that says a lot and probably means nothing, but it's just something that my head goes through when I'm designing stuff, is how to add visual interest.
I think it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
How you're intentionally trying to layer your texture to bring out, especially in the context of the beadbox, like lean into the beadbox and blend the textures. And I feel like that definitely leans into one of the tips you wanted to, like, you were wanting for you had for today.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. That's a really great point. And I think I lost my train of thought. oh well. And continuing on, I guess. But what the show? Yeah, that's what happens when I lose my train of thought. It's just random stuff. Hi Shira. That necklace is perfection. Thank you, friend. I wanted to show you guys how I glued on the charm. And this is like the easiest win for me personally, because it's just adding so much without doing so much.
Mm-hmm.
I could wire wrap this whole thing and get really elaborate. I will leave the wire wrapping up to the expert, Miss Lovecraft. I am not that.
I think it would work both ways. Like if you wanted your ginkgo to fly a little bit, I think you could wire it as well. But if you're Mila and you want to hold it in place, and you're going to glue it down, and it'll be there forever.
I do. I'm very insecure about my wire wrapping, and so this sort of adds that ensuring part of it. Okay, I just placed a little bit of Loctite glue, and I'm gonna attempt to hold it in place. Hopefully I added enough. But then, you give it a little bit of time to dry. It'll probably fall off as I'm trying to wire wrap this, but I just wanted to show you guys what I used to do that. some Loctite super glue, and just a dollop of it, not to go overboard so that it doesn't start to, flow outside of the pendant like it did on my first attempt, which I cleverly in the photo that I took. But in this case, I just did a very sensitive drop, and it worked perfectly. So with that being said, friends, I'm just going to grab some Softflex craft wire. You can use any craft wire that you please, as long as it's 26 gauge and you're working with a little bit more of a smaller diameter for this wrapping portion, or at least what I would recommend. And I'm just going to grab my stone and grab both. And you know what's funny is I did do this on both sides, which is great because then I've got both sides to play with. And even this Rivoli has kind of this really cool backside because it's got that texture. When they think about their findings and their charms and stuff, they don't just stamp the one side. They really think about the design holistically and in a 3D way. And I don't see many companies do that. So I think that's special to them.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, so you could wear this on the backside pretty easily. And I do believe you get 2 charms in the actual bead box itself too. So that's also
cool. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So
you could glue the ginkgo in any direction, I guess. Like if you're gluing it on, you could.
Oh yeah.
You could put it anywhere on the pendant.
I will say though, well, I guess you could probably with this. I was thinking there was one side that was flatter, and that would be easier to adhere onto. Flat on that side. I glued this down, so I can't verify now.
I think they should. Both the pendant's supposed to be symmetrical, so theoretically they should be the same.
Okay. Yeah. In that case, then yes, then you can definitely use both sides. So I cut a length of about 8 inches, give or take. You won't need that much really, but better safe than sorry. I went ahead and crisscrossed my wires, and I'm grabbing my round nose pliers, as you can see. And I'm going to actually wrap this wire that's pointing toward me around the round nose pliers all the way as such. Okay, once you give it a good little press, you can actually hold that wire in place with your thumb, and you can come back with the other wire and start to wrap it. Now, before I do that, I don't want to forget about adding in my charm, because it's so easy to get excited and wire wrapping and discover later that you forgot to do something, as I was about to do. So I'm gonna add
we've all been there.
Yeah, exactly. You guys know how it is.
we do indeed, unfortunately. Well,
I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna wrap that a few times. You can go in neat stacks as I'm doing there unintentionally, but it looks good. Or you can do a messy wrap. That design decision is totally up to you guys. I will say once you get a few wire wraps in, you can kind of cut this little extra stem off if you want to. I'm gonna go ahead and do that.
This would be fun to pair with the gold flat mesh as well, because the gold flat mesh matches the Softflex wire really nicely.
I know. And I'm wondering, because I haven't crimped anything of my wires yet, I wonder if a third mesh would fit.
It might actually. I feel like it might.
I'm gonna have to look and see.
Could you imagine a 3-stranded? I don't think I've ever seen a 3-strand flat mesh finishing.
But I always feel like you're sort of instigating me to like outdo myself every time.
Keeping you on your toes, Nile.
You certainly do, friend. But that's always much appreciated.
Rich and I send Nile our color idea combos for the SilverSilk each month. And sometimes Nile is like, I'm very curious how this turns out. This could be really bold. And then we do it, and it is, and we love it.
Yeah, it's one of those things I don't really know what's going to happen until I physically see it in person. And so certain colors in my head just don't work together, but then I see it happen and I'm like, how did they even come up with this? This is crazy.
It's always funny to us because we look to you for so much design inspiration. and like you have such a bold take on design that sometimes I'm always when you say something's bold, I'm like, oh, this is gonna be really bold, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's one of those things. Until I see it in person, I just never know. And I would say like we've done really well to hit the nail on the head every single time, though.
Our library of custom SilverSilk is pretty incredible now. We're not far from a full year of SilverSilk collaborations.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because our first one was July, Sand and Sea.
Gosh.
Wow, that's amazing. I hadn't noticed that.
I know it is. It's bananas, like how quickly time flies. But I don't know, we've come up with some fun stuff. So I'm curious to see where we're gonna go in the future together. So I connected it with a jump ring, and then I just strung it right between two of the check glass beads, and that worked out pretty well for holding my jump ring in place. And you could leave that by itself and attach it with either some gold or some purple flat mesh, and you can call it good. You could do a second strand. Okay, I'm gonna get real crazy, you guys, and I'm gonna show you some design ideas. You can do multiple strand necklaces here, like multiple single strands. I don't know what I'm trying to say. If you're wanting to stack your jewelry.
You could wear strand necklaces. Got it.
Yeah, you could wear these independently, or you could wear them together as a set. That's
actually such a good idea. I love that tip.
To say.
You can add that as tip number 4 of the day.
Exactly. Like you're gonna get a lot out of these video collabs with us, because there's just so much to cover in every single class.
If they weren't already liking it from the beginning when we became one person, literally, then I don't know what else they're expecting here.
I love it. I'm in for it. So there you go. I mean, that's just, that's a design idea. In this particular instance that we're working on today, we're just going to do everything as a single unit, a single necklace.
Okay.
So why don't we get down to the crimping? I'm going to string on my crimp tube. This is a 2mm crimp tube, again, from Softflex Company. And what I do is I use medium beading wire, and I just make a discrete little loop there just by stringing my wire back through the crimp. That loop should be large enough to allow for the jump ring to move freely, but you don't want it to be a super giant loop either. So I usually eyeball probably about 2 to 2.5 millimeters in diameter. And once that's there, I go in with my crimpers, and there's a V-shaped notch within the Xuron crimpers that you use first. And what that does is it separates the beading wires into 2 different channels. And you can see that the crimp tube is shaped like a crescent. So then you turn it on its side, and then you put it in the middle notch. And you kind of really have to look for it in the Xuron crimpers, but once you kind of figure out where the notches are on this, it's pretty easy to navigate. And then you just give it a good press there. Very easy. And you can either hide the wire back inside of the beads as such. I usually do 2 to 3 beads, and then I just trim it. Sometimes that's not always possible, in which case I just trim it at the crimp. And again, that's perfectly fine. It's no big deal. Another thing you could do is, if you've got a little bit sticking out at the bead, what I do is I unstring it, go in, trim a little bit more off, and then just hide it inside of the bead.
Oh, I love that.
And that gets
there's tip number 5.
Yeah, there you go. It's full of tip. We need to redo the description to this video. It's going to be tips only. All tips, all the time. Okay, I'll do the same thing to this side. I'm going to go ahead and string on my crimp tube. I'm going to string my beading wire through a couple of the beads at the same time. Yes, music is required as you do this.
So
And
sweet. We've been folks been asking on some streams lately, like when are we seeing like a Nile and Danielle box? And my response has been, wow, what a lovely idea. What a fantastic idea. We should really get going on those.
About anything because I get in trouble. So
all we're gonna say is you want to make sure you're subscribed for the remainder of this year because we have some fantastic collaborations lined up.
Yeah, all I can comment with is a series of 3 ellipses that you would use at the end of a period or sentence.
That's all. You know that emoji that's just 2 eyes looking?
Yeah, that one.
Perceived.
That's a great one. All right, I'm going to use a jump ring to go ahead and stack my 3 strands together.
I'm going to try this more. I really like how you've just made a strand of a necklace 1 bead. I don't know why I feel like I overcomplicate every strand of a necklace I've ever made, ever.
Well, the thing is, you kind of just go with your personal style with stuff too. It's nice to try new things for sure. I will say that I actually haven't gone crazy and just probably done a mixed style, which I want to try in a future, bead design at some point. This just kind of speaks to more of something that would look like what would be, I guess, in not a department store necessarily, but like kind of one of those like boutique stores. That's what I was.
Yeah, it has a jewelry magazine vibe to it.
Yeah, like just trying to go for that boutique style that is very like somewhat commercial and less bespoke.
I want to point out to folks how Nile put the jump ring there. He did the strands in an order where that lets them lay nicely.
Mm-hmm.
He did a hidden tip without even using words that I want to make sure folks saw there.
Yeah,
if
totally.
you do them in a different order, they'll twist the strands, which is a choice. But I want to point out what he did, that he did that.
Exactly. No, that's a great point, Sam. My intention was to have them stacked as such, and so I wanted to be mindful about how I did string it onto the jump ring. And what I do continually with stuff that I've strung is I lay it on the table and I see how it's put together or going to be strung together. That way I know that I'm kind of hooking things correctly as they should be, or, attaching the right stuff in the right place. You know what? I don't know if 3 are going to go through this, Sam. I can try. I'm going to try. I'm going to try because we talked about it. Oh, I think I lied. Maybe 3 will go through? I bet people are on the edge of their seats right now.
I really want to know if it works. Because what's nice about the tier cusp end is it is thicker, a little bit thicker. I wonder if you could open up.
You could work. Like I got stuff in there. So I don't know if the 3 strand works for me personally. I think it's a lot, but I'm going to show you what it looks like anyway.
Yay! Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you tried it. And are you twisting? Do you twist your ribbons at all?
You mean like braiding them or something to kind of...
I was just curious.
Oh, I hadn't done that on the original demoed piece. I like to leave them kind of just flying as they are.
I like that.
Let me scooch this down so you guys can really take a look. I don't know. Just keep the strands nice and loose and free. Free the strands. I don't know what the heck I'm saying. But they kind of look just like flying colors in the wind, and that's sort of my imagination for this.
It looks like I'm at the Met Museum, Nile.
I'm saying, right? That's right. Okay, fine. You've convinced me to keep all 3 colors on here, Sam. So that's what we're gonna do.
Yes.
Fine, I guess. So I managed to shove all 3 flat mesh pieces inside of the one crimp, which is crazy, but I hope you guys give it a try. And one series of pliers that I need is my flat mesh, or my wide nose pliers that I'm going to use to crimp my flat mesh. And this has a specific type of substance that I've coated it with. As you can see, it's got a product called Tool Magic, which creates a silicone rubberized tip. The reason for this is that it's not going to damage my finding whenever I do go to crimp it. And
That's so nice.
I can also get a very good grip on my finding and hold things very accurately because of how grippy this is. If you went to just do it straight up on your chain nose pliers, it's a very smooth surface. And so there's risks involved with trying to hold things in place. And especially with the crimps, because you don't want to get those damaged or anything marred or scratched. It's just good to be on the safe side. So I have a dedicated pair of pliers that are wide nose, that are used for all sorts of crimping. And I would encourage you guys to do the same.
I wanted to point out with that Neely's using these crimp ends, which are different than the ones you'll often see him using the SilverSilk ones that he manufactures. We offer the TierCast ones in the shop. And so like our official recommendation with these is we find that 2 strands fits really nicely. We find 1 strand's a little bit, doesn't fill it quite enough. So we recommend folding it over at the end to fill it as if it's 2 strands. And a little dab of glue also helps there as well.
For sure. And I just squeezed the life out of it. And so I feel like this is going to be pretty secure. To Sam's point, this is what I typically use it with. And these just work so well with holding, my finding in place as I'm trying to sort of make sure that it's covering my ends and stuff. So just something to think about. And if I went to do this with my chain nose pliers and I just use a tip, you're going to get a giant little.
Yeah.
Not little, but there will be a very significant mark on your finding.
Yeah. The only other workaround I could think of is if you like place like a thin cloth or a paper towel around the finding and then grip it down with your plier. It softens it at least a little bit.
More klutzy or clumsy, I guess.
What are you talking about?
All to say, like, if you can invest in the right tools, it makes such a difference in jewelry making. In which I am glad to see that you do have the crimpers on hand, because these have changed my life in so many ways.
They have changed my life too, Neely. You've changed my life.
Oh, Sam. So nice. We've all changed and influenced and helped better each other's lives. That's the way to go about it.
And more than just crimping.
You're getting so much more than just 3 tips out of this class. You're getting a whole lesson in life, friends. All right, so I'm going to trim all of this together, and I'm going to shake off any of those extra little wire bits that I call wire fuzzies. They're fuzzies because they're just little wire remnant pieces that kind of stick out at the end, and they tend to get in the way of crimping. Sometimes they add unnecessary stuffing that can inhibit a crimp from really gripping the actual chain. So you really want to go in and pick out anything that sticks out, as I'm doing here. And it looks like
it's really satisfying picking out the fuzzies. It's like one of my favorite SilverSilk tasks.
I enjoy it too, as weird as that sounds. I feel like it adds to my like OCD need to have everything in order and clean and tidy. I just snorted a little, so you're welcome.
I'd like to do like again.
Okay, so I'm going to now try and push all 3 strands. You gotta have some hand strength for this, folks, but you can do it.
I haven't tested it, but you could try opening the crimp a little bit like Neely does with some of his findings, gently.
That's true. And you know what? The Zuron crimpers are perfect for that because they got that real tapered end. And these crimps are pewter cast, and so the metal is going to be a lot softer. Mine are brass core, so they're a little bit like more heavy duty. But just going to trim that a little bit off. But the pewter metal will certainly be a lot more pliable for that. Or malleable? Malleable is probably a better word. All right, I'm going to go in and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze.
Squeeze the life out of that crimp, Neely.
The life out of the crimp, y'all. If you've got the coating, if you don't, then use a paper towel.
Okay. So we're real fancy over here.
We are certainly very fancy. Okay, so let's connect all this fun stuff together now. I'm going to grab my jump ring, excuse me, and I'm going to string it up through the 3 strands that are connected at that jump ring here on the right side, and then just attach it there. And then on this side, I'm going to, oh, actually, I lied to you. That's not what we're going to do. I am going to disconnect that, so just disregard. I think what I ended up doing was saving myself a few jump rings, and instead I just ended up connecting all of this together at once.
Okay.
Which just as easy.
Shout out to Teresa, who just subscribed to Sam's Bead Box.
Yay, Teresa!
I know Teresa from the Silkies group.
Yes, our brand ambassador. Her 3rd year, was it 4th year anniversary is coming up.
Wow, that's amazing.
Ambassador, yes. Yeah, she's a treasure. We love our Teresa.
Well, now I get to see what she makes with the bead box. God, we're gonna be spoiled.
I'm saying she's very creative and such a sweetheart and a great welcoming person to our Silkies group. All right, so I'm going to connect my last thing here. And I can't really decide. This is where I was having trouble, and I'm hoping that it'll face the right position. So it looks like it will. I was trying to lay this out to see like how it's going to lay on a person. And I might have to swap these because I want my toggle to be able to freely move around. But then again, if I use the toggle down here, it does have a risk of not working because of how bunched up all of this crystal or the gemstone goodiness is adding. So all to say that I might actually need a jump ring, but I don't have one on hand. And I can't remember how I connected it. So we're just going to call this piece designed and finished.
It is certainly designed.
Yes, exactly. One little edit, maybe I might add a jump ring or 2 here to kind of straighten that out. But otherwise, we got all our fun stuff here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear off my desk here so we can look at this design on whole. And I didn't mention as my other tool, which are important, are these bead stoppers. I recommend having a few on hand for holding your bead strands in place while you string everything. But oh my gosh, look at that. Just so much color. It's really like this whole box, and I think the boxes that you do put together, they're just a real celebration of color and you know, texture and materials. And for those of us that have this need to kind of use everything in the box at once, hopefully this is a way that will inspire you to do so. You don't have to stop at 3 strands. You can add as many as you want.
Well, you know what you could do for the next strand?
What's that?
Is the pipe chain at the top.
Oh, yeah. Oh, you could just go on and on.
If someone does this piece and uses all 3 colors of custom flat mesh for the month and the pipe chain all together, I will put $20 of bead credit onto your account. Make this a reality, okay? I'm putting this challenge into the universe. You will have to use the ones you'll have to grab the custom silver silks. But if you put it all together, and you can make it your own design. But like if you use all 4 in one in this statement necklace, I will put $20 on your account because I want to see it.
You know, and it is possible. I think it is possible. I think just adding that sensitivity to color, using the gemstones in a meaningful way, and making sure that the design is balanced, it can all work. I think that challenge, heck, I want $20 of credit in beads. I'll do it. Although I probably won't be able to, just because like I don't get to. I shouldn't do it. I should leave this up to the hardcore subscriber.
I'm just curious. Do you have any other colors of pipe chain nearby, just so we can show folks kind of how it could lay?
I have some other colors. Yes. Let me see what I can dig up. Oh, I have this awful color that I tried to make, but that's not gonna work because it's green. I have. Ooh, this is not necessarily a color that matches the thing, but I kind of love it together.
It kind of works.
Just a different pop, I guess. If I had purple, that would be the best.
But I think that's the idea I want to show is I think it could lay nicely as a strand itself.
I know, yeah, exactly. I think it could be an easy mix. I have stuff, Sam, but it is truly like I've got the stuff in a box that I showed you earlier.
Neely, once your house is renovated, my challenge to you is to make a piece that features all of the custom ones we do in a month. So I'm putting the pipe chain with the flat mesh together.
All right. Challenge accepted, friend.
And I will do the same challenge.
Okay.
If you do it, I will do it the same month, and we'll see what we could do like a head-to-head.
Maybe we do this in the fall. Wink, wink.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do it then.
I can't really hear. Let me turn my camera around, and then I can do it properly. There we go.
Oh my God, we have so many folks joining us. Lori just subscribed to Sam's Bucks. It's really good time. We just opened up some slots, so we would love to have you. We have great collabs coming up. I'm not going to tell you exactly when, but this year we have collabs with some of our favorite people. We've already collaborated with Rachel Malice and Sarah Lovecraft this year, so we have more to come. It's a good year for Sam's Bucks. We're very excited. Rachel and I are actually about to meet on more Bucks things. We have so many decisions to make. So
the fun just never stops, does it?
It never stops. Oh, I should say, if you want to get subscribed, you do on a separate website. So our main website is samsbeadshop.com. If you want to join our monthly bead club, that's samsbeadbox.com. And is there a Nile code or something at this point? I think
there is one for SilverSilk, and I can't remember off the top of my head like I should have.
There it is. Code SilverSilk. It's on Nile's website. Code SilverSilk can get you $5 off your first month. And if you just subscribed and didn't use any sort of coupon code, send us a message and we can apply it to your second box. We want to make sure you still get your discount.
It's also an easier code to remember, so that's great for me.
I think we set it up that way intentionally for us.
And for the customers out there too, that would be interested in the bead box. So
we didn't make it wire fuzzies or something like that.
No, but we should add that as like a secret word for like, I don't know. We make it into a thing in the show where whoever says it the most has to like take a shot or something. I don't know. Think of something.
Well, we're gonna have to do lots of fun later this year. So go get your house renovated so we can start designing together again. I'm very excited.
I've got some work to do for sure.
Thank you, Nile, so much. It's such a pleasure getting to work with you each month, and I can't wait to continue as soon as possible. Nile's, we gotta wait for Nile's house to get renovated, then we'll be back in action.
Yes. In the meantime, you can do some light shopping or heavy shopping over at silversilkonline.com as well for some other types of silver silk that I carry in my lines. Sam carries 2 of the 6, and the custom chains that no other business or store has. And then I've just got my standard collection as well as my custom findings, which are custom plated for SilverSilk. And then if you're over in the YouTubes or needing to get some inspiration and some exciting videos, you can check out the entire library at both of our YouTube channels. So we hope that you'll enjoy watching those videos. If you like any of them and enjoy this content, please do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channels. I always go through this boilerplate statement, but
it's good because even I forget that, like, if you want to see Nilay's full archive, go to his website and then go to his YouTube channel. Like this, it's so smart to point out because I learned so much from your tutorials. So I highly recommend checking them out.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to design stuff that's more evergreen and going to work today, tomorrow, 10 years from now. And that's, I think, very reflective in the video tutorials. So it's a great library, a great collection of different designs for sure. So, and then of course we've got our Instagrams, and I'm not on the TikTok, but
I don't really use it. We have the Sam's Beach has an app you could get. That's fun. It's great. I recommend it. Nilay, do you have the Sam's Beach Shop app? I don't know if I've ever asked you.
You know what? I don't think I installed it actually. So we'll have to talk, and
we're gonna get Nilay on the Sam's Beach Shop app.
That's so exciting though. SilverSilk needs an app. I don't know what for, but I just want on to have one.
I would download it.
I think it's
all right. We better go wrap up. Thank you everyone for joining us, and have a lovely rest of your Wednesday. I'll be back tomorrow, Thursday at 3 o'clock Pacific, same time as we started today, for the Thursday live sale, and then Friday. Rachel, what's on Friday?
Donut class.
Donut class with Danielle. We got Nilay and Danielle this week, and Sarah. Oh, this is a great week.
Ooh, it's a good week.
So Sarah was Tuesday. We did this today, and Friday with Danielle, also at 3 o'clock Pacific. We have a kit class with Danielle using Gemstone donuts. That is so pretty, and those kits are already available in case you want to get one before the class. And that's samsbeadshop.com. In case you're watching on the SilverSilk channel.
Where? No, I'm kidding.
Where? On the Sam's Beach Shop app. You can get it there as well. Alrighty, y'all. We will see you soon. Thank you so much, Nilay.
Thank you, guys. Love everyone out there. Thanks for tuning in.